working on this same Project Life spread, and today I'm going to be working on a strip of 3x4 pockets across the left-hand side of the page. I have, what do I have, 4 photos here, I think? No, 3. So in this little row, I want to tell the story of one particular outing, and I have one big photo, one tiny photo, one in-between photo, and then this 3x4 card, which I had picked out, and Wonder Boy has then given me a nice little signature mark here. So I don't have another one, so I'm going to see. I think I'm just going to leave it, and I might put some embellishment on top of it, I might not. And to be honest, if it were later in his album, and if it were in a week where he'd actually been able to pick up a pen, I would definitely leave it. But this is week 12. He was not such an overachiever to be using a pen at week 12, I'm afraid. Okay, so I might cover it up. We'll see how it goes. I'm sticking with this same 6x6 pad that I used on the other 2 cards that I've done so far. So there's the polka dot, the stripe was also in here, and then that camera. Anyway, this is the 6x6 pad I'm using, and I've picked out these 2 to go along in this space. Okay, so I'm going to cut this photo down. This is what I meant when I said I often print my photos 4x4 on a 4x6 with a border. So this actually, the image itself is slightly smaller than 4x4 because that whole card is 4 inches wide, plus the white border makes it a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm going to trim that down so it's going to fit in a pocket and figure out how this whole little row of 3x4s is going to come together. One thing that really helps me if I'm trying to do a block of 3x4s is to take the background cards that I want to use and squish them together to see how they look in a really small area, so that I can see how the patterns and the colors balance and think if that's going to work with everything else I want to include on the page, and then I can expand it and add all the different details. So I've chosen my 4 backgrounds here, that pink adventure card that I started with, and then these 2 from the same 6x6 sheet, and this one from a separate one. Now, I've used that same 6x6 page for some punching, and there was no way for me to get 2 cards out without losing a little bit here. So that actually gives me the first place to work with, because I know I'm going to have to cover that somewhere on the card. I'm going to go ahead and just start sticking to this card, and then I think I have an idea that will help with that spot. What I've done is cut this Go Somewhere Lovely, which is a little square, and on the 12x12 those squares are 4x4, so of course they are smaller when it's all shrunk down to 6x6, so I've used a few of these, but that's what I have left. But the design is more central, so I think if I want to include everything here to go off the bottom of the page, but see, this is way too tall now. So I'm going to cut it down to right above the word go. And then I think I might trim these edges in closer to the rectangle as well. And then the bottom's going to go off that edge. And I want a little bit of that edge of the photo to show here, and I want this line to be quite near the bottom of the card. That relatively straight. It's not perfectly straight, I may need to tidy that up with my trimmer, but it may be okay once it's in the pocket. So that gives me the card itself and mostly put together, and I've fixed that problem that I had from the beginning. But I know, because I've put that set of backgrounds together and crunched them together, that I don't have all the colors on this card that are going to appear across across the whole strip. So it's nice if I can bring some of that in. So I have that pink, and I'd used one of these on the 4x6 card that I did the other day, so yesterday even. So I think one of those will help. And I feel like I should have something up here, maybe just a tiny little banner to come down and maybe have another heart on top. I've been using those little cameras, but I think in this case I need a vertical piece rather than a horizontal. So I'll try to find something that's maybe the same color or the cream and black, and then I could put the pink on top. So here's that polka dot that I used yesterday. I'm going to just use the dots to cut a little strip and then make a little edge there. I'll add some ink to the edge of this since I used ink on this paper elsewhere on the layout. Pop that up here in this top corner and take off the extra. And then I can add a little bit of the pink over the top. Do I want just a heart? I think that it needs a little something behind it. So this is really annoying. This is the little bit that I cut off here, and I don't have any more of this particular pattern hanging around. And if you can see that, it's going to go almost to the edge of my heart punch, but not quite. I'm going to try to see if I could use that and then put something along the side, like a little word sticker. Or maybe do I add a gold heart here? The two hearts together, and then I could add my little pink heart on the edge. Yeah. And that should help it connect to the 4x6 cards as well, because now I have that polka dot that I've used on a 4x6 card and the gold chipboard heart, which I used elsewhere too. I'll just have a whole little row of hearts up here in the corner. And I don't think that one's going to need anything else. I might come back to it when I have them all pretty much done in case it looks like it needs something else then, but I think then I'm okay to go on to the next one. So that's going to be next to this card here. And that's going to be too small. I wondered if I could maybe just do a cheeky little heart there, but no. And I have those, I think I had one more of those gold chipboard hearts. Oh, actually, I didn't expect to like that at all, but I kind of do. I try to keep this second square on the left-hand side, or it's not a square, second rectangle on the left-hand side, pretty much I try to keep it to a printed card without much embellishment on each week. So there's never a photo in that spot. Sometimes there's a little bit of embellishment on top of a printed card, or there'll be a layer because the printed card had rounded edges, so I had to trim it in and put a mat behind it. I think I'll leave it just like that for now and then move on to the next one. So then I have my black and white busy, busy, busy pattern. I have this photo of our lunch, and so I wanted to bring in something with some journaling lines. Again, I've got a rounded card because that's from the Project Life kit. Oops, sorry. It's from this Project Life kit. Can I stop banging the camera so that it's not all shaky? I'm going to trim that to a straight edge rather than the rounded corner. And I think I'll save the numbers for another day and just use the middle of the card. And that will make this a little bit easier. There's my journaling space. And my photo is going to go here. I think with my other cards lined up next to it, I'd like for this card to have just that tiny little border in that pink. So let's see what I have that would be suitable. that paler pink, or the triangles might be the best bet. Yep. So I'll put it on this pink pattern and just trim right around the edge. That will go in the corner there. Take off the extra from my journaling box. And I know I have a sticker to go with this one because I have the Eat Well sticker. But this was Eat Well with the semicolon and then travel often, and I'm not going to use the second half, so I don't need the semicolon. Take off the extra space there as well. And I'm just deciding, do I want it above or layered? And I think I will go ahead and layer it there. And I'll add my journaling in this box. And I've used a brown pen for the journaling here because that's what I've used on the other two cards that I've done so far on this spread, so I want to keep the ink for the journaling the same color all the way across the whole layout. Just looking now if I want to add something else to this one. I wonder if, I think the hearts may be a little bit over the top if I do a heart on all four, so I might leave this one free of hearts. I do feel like I need something up here at the top though, so I might go with the camera this time. Yeah. So I'll pop one of those cameras here, and then I have my cameras represented that I did on the other cards are now represented here as well, and I can just stack them up. Okay, I think that's enough on that card. Which brings me to my final one, which goes back to that matte background. And I have my photo. And this was another one of the square cards, same page as this. And I want to cut this down so that I have this little shape. Which I want to overlap the top of this photo so that the arrow is pointing down toward him in the picture. And what I need to figure out is how to put the story behind this photo onto this card. Found a solution, and that was to add the journaling to some vellum. So I'm going to put it right over the top of the photo. But I don't want to use any adhesive that's going to show through there, so I'm going to put a staple or two in it, just over in this little gap in the text. And I'm not too worried about this top corner. I think I will put another staple over here, but that's plenty to keep it secure. I really wished I had some plain white vellum handy, but I don't have any at the moment, so I used the most subtle pattern I could find, which was a feather print, which I think was Studio Calico. And I have that extra piece that I've cut away from that top little caption. I thought I might be able to use the hearts in the little open space here. They might be too big. Yep, I think they're going to be too big. I should have thought of it before, and then I could have stapled the vellum just fractionally higher, just a tiny, tiny little bit. I'm going to trim these down as far as I can and see if I have any luck. Yep, I think that might work. But I do feel like I need something on this card that has a bit more texture. It would be nice to bring the gold back in over here. So maybe I use my heart punch and that gold stripe and pop that up here. put a little pop dot on the back of this. Then I don't mind if it overlaps the photo a little bit more, where it's just the pushchair. I don't want to overlap him anymore. Then he already has the vellum, but this would work here. I'm just going to look at that. I might have one more of these chipboard hearts hiding somewhere, and I do think it would be nice to have that there instead of the stripe. I'll have a quick look to see if I have one, and if not, then I'll go with that. Okay, brilliant news is I found 3, so I can use them elsewhere on the layout. I'm going to use that shorter. If you'd like to see how all the cards come together to create the full spread, please go ahead and click that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the videos. And I'm going to endeavor to finish as many as I can this month. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.